Hello and welcome to today's episode of Finance and Technology Insights. I'm Brian Williams from Northshire Consulting with my co-host Eric Buhrendorf of EVERNET. What's happening, Eric?
Hey, Brian, how's it going?
Good. Yeah, everything's pretty good. Starting to warm up here a little bit in the east. Feels like summer, so it's good enough for me.
Yep, it's warming up. I'm looking forward to it. What's going on today? I see that you have. Well, sorry. Let me. Before we get to that, let's do a little housekeeping. So,
Sure.
You're watching Finance and Technology Insights. We have a YouTube channel which we don't yet have our custom URL. So you find the link in the show below, and make sure you give us a like and subscribe. Brian is the leader of Northshire Consulting, and he is northshireconsulting.com. I am the leader of EVERNET Consulting at evernetco.com. And if you want to hang out with us and follow the things that we talk about, go to facebook.com/finance and technology insights. That one we do have a custom URL. So there's a little housekeeping for us. So yeah. How's it going? You had a busy morning?
Yeah, busy morning. I did an interview with Eric See, now I can't even say it. Balchut. Well, another Eric with a interesting last name. Eric Balchunas from Bloomberg. He's got his own podcast, which is really good. I've listened to for a long time, and he's also on the TV on Bloomberg on ETF IQ. So he's ETF, exchange traded funds. He's kind of come up through the ranks of Bloomberg, and when ETF started to get real popular, he's really an analyst, although he does a lot of media stuff, media appearances. But at his core, he is an analyst. But he's a really good guest. He's a really good his own podcast, like I said, is really good. So he just came out with a book, which is about Jack Bogle, the founder of Vanguard, which a lot of investors are familiar with. So really interesting story there. He gets into kind of the history, but his main focus for the book was trying to bring the Jack Bogle story to the next generation and be like, well, this guy was, ESG, environmentally social conscious and governance before that was a thing. This guy was kind of, rebel in the industry, so to speak. So he's trying to bring that story to the next generation. So really good guest, really good show. Really enjoyed that. I think it's, some of the ones you do are just kind of for you feel like, but I think if anybody in my Facebook group or YouTube channel kind of stumbles on this, they'll get into it and probably watch the whole thing. So I'm pumped about that.
I was watching it this morning. He was a great guest. You were a good interviewer. I have on the screen here for the listeners and the viewers. Again, it's not I guess not a easily describable URL, but we'll try to have links in the show description where you can search Eric. I'm going to do my best here. Balchunas,
Yep,
Balchunas. I have on screen your 401k and beyond YouTube channel where I don't presume that's your desired shareable one, because did you stream direct to social as well?
I did, yeah. To my to Facebook, to my Northshire Consulting page, and then to my Facebook group 401k and beyond, and to YouTube, which the channel is 401k and beyond.
Yeah,
so we do have the custom URL for that, luckily. So
you're a baller. Look at that, youtube.com/401k and beyond.
Yep,
you're getting it done. I love it. So how long was that recording?
Good question. I think we went about 53 minutes, and we had I don't know. I think in the calendar we had half an hour, but I knew we'd fill that up pretty quickly. And it's funny how sometimes you just kind of know. I know from he's probably my age or a touch older, and just from following on Twitter, Twitter's where you get the personality, right? I mean, LinkedIn, everybody's sort of straight up, and Facebook is what it is. But so I knew just from Twitter, I knew we'd probably get along okay, and obviously a lot to talk about with the book and his history and working for Bloomberg. So, I mean, we could have gone for hours, but
it looks like you guys were gelling for sure. So
yeah.
Congratulations on that effort. Hopefully, hopefully that's a positive asset for you out there.
Yeah, I hope so. If nothing else, I enjoyed it. If nobody watches, at least I got something out of it.
Yeah, I mean, our little project here, our viewership is low, but it is a wonderful exercise in networking and leveraging these technologies and staying sharp with these technologies, staying in front of the camera, staying in front of an audience. So yeah, that's good. It's good. I love it.
So business. We got to play your intro. You ready to see what's happening in EVERNET?
Well, wait a minute. Let's tell us about last week. What happened? Tell us personal last week.
Yeah, personal stuff last week. So over the weekend, geez, it always feels like we're so busy, but I'm not sure what we did. So
I know.
yeah, I mean, well, last week was a busy week. I mean, my birthday was Tuesday, so we have like a little there's a, call it a castle, but it's up on the mountain behind us and a park there. So we were able to drive up to that. That's all I wanted. Just get Subway. I wanted a foot long buffalo chicken and to go up there and eat it at the picnic table. That's all I wanted. So we were able to do that. Thursday, we went to a car show in Newington, which was really good. They closed down one of the streets here. So about 20 minutes away, but put on by I think the chamber was involved there, and it's a car show that kind of does a circuit. So that was really good. It's a ton of cars there.
Yeah, they've been doing that for a long time.
Yeah, so that was a really good one. And then gosh, over the weekend, we're planning to go out of town a little bit. So so this weekend was relatively low key, but we did Saturday morning actually here at we have a drive-in movie theater here in Southington, which is a rarity these days, as I got a bug flying around here. But so we have a drive-in movie theater, but they have a lot of events there because it's obviously a big, wide open field there, and a pavilion, Little League stuff there too. But they had a mini Comic-Con, which was fun. So the library put that on. A lot of folks came dressed in dressed in comic book outfits or wore their whatever. So that was really fun. They had some characters there with some face painting, some tattoos. The library gave away some comics, and so that was pretty cool. So
did I just realized I did this wrong. So I forgot that was supposed to go before that. That's my bad.
Usually do like the personal stuff without the intro, and then we use the intros for the business stuff, right?
Oh, okay. See, there you go. I screwed it up. All right. So you had a person. All right. So you, that's
So that was what's happened on the personal side. So what's going on with you personally?
Let's see.
You can tell us.
Last week, my 9-year-old had the 9-year-old had field day the previous week. My 5-year-old kindergartner had a field day on last Monday, so I volunteered for that, which was hilarious, fun. And on Friday, so it's just end of school year stuff basically. On Friday, the kindergartners were able to invite parents to have a picnic together at on the front yard of the school, which was a lot of fun. I always love doing that stuff. So that was good. We had a local fair called Celebrate West Hartford, which is always fun, and some soccer. So we're just kind of winding down the school year, which it's always distant. It's always in the near distant. What am I trying to say? It's kind of always out of reach, the end of the school year, until it's upon you, and then you're like, oh, well, that went by fast. So it's like it doesn't go by fast until it goes by fast. So
yeah, those last couple of weeks, and I remember, like, certainly as a student, those last couple of weeks are brutal. You're just counting down the minutes, the hours, the days.
Fortunately, the girls, at this age, they like school. It's where their friends are.
Mm-hmm.
It's structured play and things like that. So they're not antsy to get out. But it's just kind of fun because we get to have more access to the kids, and things get a little more casual, and we kind of go out like a lamb, if you will. So that's what we were doing last week, and I think that's basically it with me personally. You want to talk about you? What's new? What's happening with Brian in business?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Here we go. Ready? what's happening in Northshire Consulting. I love that, by the way. That's so funny.
Those are so fun. They're full of cheese, which is awesome. Yeah, I mean, so business wise, it's just been more of the same. A lot of the state plan stuff. I'm not going to bore you with all that kind of stuff, but the requirements of having a state plan. So a bunch of states are coming on board with requiring it, and they're all a little bit different. So it's kind of fun to watch these programs run out and how they try to differentiate from one another. In Connecticut, following the lead of California, Oregon, Illinois. So a lot of conversations around that. Summer used to be a little bit of a slower time business wise, but I don't feel like it is anymore. Just because everybody seems to be going. You're dealing with a lot of vacations and stuff, but it doesn't seem to slow down like it used to. So, and obviously a lot of market.
Could that be a premature sentiment, you think? I mean,
well, I don't know. We'll see.
July
Yeah,
going to
we'll
look like, for
check back
example?
in September, but I mean, it used to. I don't know. It used to feel like summer was like dead, like it's like client acquisition or anything like that, or trying to do meetings. It's like especially a lot of the employee meetings and stuff that I'll do. I mean, forget about doing them in August. It's even now you're booking for September. So,
Right.
which isn't such a bad thing. My wife's a teacher, so those weekends, if we can, or those weeks, we can kind of be elsewhere, especially now that everybody's so used to being virtual and stuff. So, yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to this summer. I don't foresee a lot of in-person stuff, but so we can pretty much work from wherever, which is nice. So, yeah, I'd say the last week is just kind of a continuation of what I've been doing, but did a lot of prep work for this interview this morning that I did with Eric Balchunas. So I watched a lot of his content. I listened to his podcast for a long time anyway, but I just circled back and made sure I listened more thoroughly to some of the recent ones.
Any chance you might get a reciprocal invite?
Boy, I don't know. I don't necessarily have. I think if I wrote a book and maybe I reached out to him, maybe. But he's got a much larger audience, much larger following. I think actually I'd probably have a better chance of like getting, like a couple minutes on like a morning show or something to talk about the retirement plan business or something like that. So, but it's,
No, you got to
interviewing
always punch
people.
up, Brian. You got to punch up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. But he's a newsbreaker, so he's got people coming on who are launching ETFs or whatever. I could make up some, BS product launch or something maybe. But yeah, definitely punching up and shooting your shot. But just the fact to even get and have half an hour with him was pretty cool. So
that's great.
But yeah, I think that interviewing is it's a really tough skill, obviously, because there's people who do it, for a living and takes a lot of practice. But it's always a challenge to it's always awkward to ask a question that you kind of know the answer to anyway, but you're asking it for the audience. So that part kind of struggle with a little bit because I'm always thinking in the back of my head, somebody's going to be watching it like, oh, he didn't know that. He should know that, but you're asking for the benefit of your audience.
Of course.
So that's one area where you kind of struggle a little bit. And then the other thing is to, you especially in the way we're doing, because we want to show that we know things too. You're not just asking questions, so you want to try to interject and add things into the question and add some expertise there and follow up on what they're doing. So I think those are probably two of the areas that probably everybody struggles with or to get better. But if you're working for a news station or something, you're asking the question and then you're not necessarily trying to show what you know, whereas what we're doing, we are trying to demonstrate a little bit of what we know too. So
true.
So that's a challenge too. You don't want to just ask simple yes no questions or something that's going to make you look like you don't know the answer to.
There are some YouTubers out there and content producers out there that are occupying a space that they're not qualified to contribute information wise. I mean, everybody has something to contribute, so I'm not trying to be down on anybody, but you can always tell when you kind of have the subject matter expert bringing on fellow subject matter experts versus an interviewer just kind of operating in a space interviewing somebody in a vacuum. And it's always nice to have all content out there, but you can there's definitely a value when you when the interviewer like you can bring in a fellow colleague and really sink your teeth into a subject or something like that, which is exactly what you guys are doing. I mean, I listened to it. I had a few interruptions, but I was really listening to you guys. You guys were engaging, which was awesome.
Yeah, thanks. No, I definitely appreciate it. I mean, sometimes it is fun to bring on a guest that know nothing about, or on like a completely, maybe something that you're interested in. So your questions are genuinely, I want to
Right.
know this, I want to, but other times and in this instance, I mean, obviously I've read the book, I listened to audio and whatever, and I know the subject matter. So I could have done it with no prep, but it was nice to know some things going in and knowing a little bit about him. But anyway, so
Yeah.
what's
So
going on in your business? Do you want to?
Oh, you want to hit my intro?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. I'll hit it.
I just realized you gave me ones and zeros in the background of my intro.
Yeah, you didn't notice that
I just
before?
noticed that. What's yours?
Mine is just like well, let's play it again because they're so good. Let's go back to that.
Got it.
Yeah, so mine is like a big stock quote
ticker
wall kind of thing in your ones and zeros.
That's awesome. I love it.
It's almost like it's finance and technology. Funny
I
how
love
that
it.
works.
I love it. I love it. Did you by the way, did you manage to upgrade our banner to do the periodic like subscribe?
I did not. Nope, I did not do that.
No worries.
Next time around.
So yeah, you were talking, just in the current vein of talking about I want to finish I want to transition what you were just talking about with having conducting interviews. So the audience knows that I launched EVERNET Reviews. I have an EVERNET a YouTube channel where I'm kind of curating and building hopefully valued content. One of the sub themes, I don't want to call it a channel because it's content kind of being dumped on my main channel, but it's a sub theme or playlist or however YouTube organizes the content. But anyways, it's called EVERNET Reviews, and I'm having product services vendors come on and do product demos with me. And it's kind of a combination of both, where I am a subject matter expert and I know, yeah, there's my YouTube channel. Thank you. And I know what the products do in the context of kind of what they do, but I may not know every feature or widget in the product. So I'm kind of benefiting from knowing what they do and having varying degrees of exposure to the products, to also being kind of aha'd and wooed to the actual, and to the guests, I really ask them, I plead for them to be prepared to give me an actual product demo rather than a slide deck. And
Right.
so far, I think most of them have done that, if not all of them. And so that's been fun. I've got a few recordings in the can. I'm trying not to kind of get too eager and dump them all out. So I'm kind of trying to drip the faucet, making sure that we have a lineup, a steady lineup coming in. So working on that. That's been a lot of fun right now. So I kind of leapfrog from massive internal project to massive internal project that could be kind of momentous to my business. And the thing that I'm working on now, so we just hired another team member in our marketing team, and for years, for always, it's been, from an employment standpoint, it's always been very painful to hire because every new employee requires so much training and orientation. I remember when I was a kid, I think I worked at Subway for a couple of years, and like they sent you home with a VHS. It was like, okay, go watch this VHS and learn everything there is about being a Subway employee, from kind of process and policy to, the product and the service. I don't have that today. And as I was talking to you, I've mentioned this over the past few weeks, I started looking at researching learning management systems where we can curate that VHS experience for our personnel. So then I kind of pulling at this thread and realized, okay, well, we need a learning management system. How do we tie that into our HR portal? So when you are born as an employee into the company in the HR portal, how do we seamlessly steer you towards the learning management system? So you're quickly in, and then you have a checklist, and checklist one says, go to the learning management system and start taking your training before you worry about what apps we use and where data is and what logging into this and logging that. I mean, we have dozens of softwares, important softwares that we use to run our business, and it can be very, very disorienting. So it started with the learning management system because that's the imperative, but then it kind of, my journey has taken me into exploring what's called user provisioning, and there's some technology. So like all these web apps, even Google, if you ever logged into a website that was not owned by Google, Facebook, or Apple, but you logged into that Facebook with your identity from Facebook, Google, or Apple,
Mhm.
what you're using is a technology called single sign-on, where the third party has a configuration and relationship with these identity providers, is what they're called: Apple, Google, Microsoft, Facebook. Those are called identity providers. And the app that you just went to that said, hey, you can log in with your credential from one of these identity providers, that technology is called single sign-on. So what I've discovered was this, I can manage internally for my company a single sign-on identity provider. And then I had to do a whole bunch of product exploration in that realm and see, I had to learn about it. And when I say learn about it, I mean like from a highly technical implementation standpoint. Like conceptually at the high level, I've known about SSO for years and all that, but from an implementation standpoint, I really kind of like had to hit the books. So, and then I had to do product research basically. And then turns out we had multiple products already internally that gave us access to deploying SSO. And so I just, so I've been kind of just like knee deep in that, because it's one of those things where you wanted, it's investment time in the business, and somebody's got to do it. And boy, does it feel like not a huge waste of time, but it's like it's total. It's like cleaning the garage. You know what I mean? It's like, you need to do it at some point. The benefit is going to be clear. But boy, the days can tick by before you really finally say like, okay, this is the day that I'm going to allocate to do this. And I'm kind of like in the middle of that. But I'm really excited about it, because really the goal is to automate onboarding as much as possible and really help the new employees experience. Because I don't know when the last time you were an employee, but being a new employee is high in anxiety. You might have some imposter syndrome. You might have just punched up and just got a new job. You might, new company, new culture, new tools, new processes. So you're drinking from the fire hose, and that alone can be challenging and fear inducing and a distraction. But then what we're experiencing is when day one comes, where the new member joins the team meeting and starts having to collaborate on our work product together, if that team member doesn't have familiarity with the tools that we use, or even how we use the tools that may be common that they may have experience with, it can be very distracting. It can be really discouraging for both the existing team and the new resource, because there's friction there, so the team has to stop and kind of drag the new team member forward from a procedural and policy and SOP standpoint. And it just really is a painful experience for both internal and new resource. So my goal is to really, by Monday, day one, that the new employee comes and joins the team meeting and starts collaborating with team members, They already know what tools we're using. They've already logged into them successfully. They haven't had to provision and enroll themselves in all these accounts, because I don't know if there's this concept when you log into account or you create a new account that's called user enrollment. And then anytime you go to a website and you have to create an account, you're enrolling a user account in that site. And right now, my employees have to go through this enrollment process in a lot of the tools that we use. And so, if the goal of my project is to basically do that enrollment for them. So they just basically have one or two credentials that they just have to kind of enroll in. So my wife's watching me go through this. Like, I've been up at 5 a.m. every day for the past 5 days, because I just can't sleep and think unless I gotta get this thing out of my head.
Right.
And she's watching and she's like, "Oh my God, is that what IT is? Is that is that what has to happen in order for," because she's an attorney at Lego. So she's like, "Is that all that has to happen in order for me to be able to do these things at work?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah. And part of the reason you go through these processes is so potentially one of your clients might have questions on this stuff and you know what it is. So it's kind of a dual exercise for you guys. So you're
1,000%
living it.
yes.
Yeah.
1,000% yes. I mean, I would love it if my team members would do more of this. Not, I'm not blaming them. They have their hands full with the ongoing stuff. And again, they know of all this stuff, exists, and they do implement a lot of this as they come across. But yeah, a lot of what I'm doing is product research I'm dog fooding what it basically can benefit my clients. Exactly. And this is the way it's going, the more, because we're deploying fewer and fewer servers in data centers and office building data closets. You know what I mean? It's more and more cloud-based apps, and specifically web-based apps. And I can see very clearly that my companies will in the future not necessarily be installing servers and racks anymore, but we will be the administrator of these very disparate systems kind of working together. And kind of there's this role called the data master that I don't know if it's a new title or new concept, but it is becoming apparent that is what we are going to have to be, because every application has its own database, and there's a lot of commonality across all of these databases, but you should be able to enter Susie's office phone in one application and have it syndicate across all of the tools that you use. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be ideal, of course.
Yeah. So that's what I'm working on.
Yeah. All right.
How exciting was that?
That was very exciting. What else in the news is exciting? Anything?
You want to get in the news?
Oh yeah, we have a clip for that too, don't we? And I think that's a different song. So we got 3 different songs. I'm not sure which one I like. I like the best of those 3 ditties.
That's funny. Let's see. So for the viewers out there, on our finance and technology Facebook page, Brian and I pin news articles. We used to use Flipboard. Personally, I used Flipboard for years to read the news. And then I'm finding that the Facebook news section is on parity with the content, give or take. So it's easier to just pin those news sites right to our Facebook page and Facebook group. What's going on in news? Anything? I feel like I always dominate this conversation. What have you been posting?
Well, so the one I thought was kind of interesting about Amazon delivering by drones in California later this year, which that looks like a giant flying grill to me. But so that was I think that was in our group, another
group.
page.
Yeah, you're the group guy. I'm the page guy. Where is the group? There's the group.
Yeah.
There it is. Oh, I get it. Flying grill is coming to an airspace near you. I thought you meant delivering grills.
Oh yeah. Well, they could be, I guess, but does that look like a grill to you?
It does. It completely looks like a grill. So let's pull up this article. And I don't know if you're doing this on purpose, but the electrification and automation of transportation, is my tickle spot. So I'm
Yeah,
all about this.
and this is from the CNBC headline. So this was one of the, you know, where finance and technology come together, I
I
say.
love it. So
But
CNBC's article you posted, Amazon says it will begin delivering packages by drone in California later this year. All right, go.
yeah, and I actually thought they were doing this already. That was my first reaction. I know they'd been testing it for a while, but I mean, with the price of transportation and our neighborhood is, I'm sure yours is the same. It's just all those little trucks running around all day. So certainly not surprised to see them move forward with the drones. Kids are going to get a kick out of it, but
I mean,
yeah,
is this not the future manifest? I mean, this is crazy good, right? I mean, I just if you need you need a hairbrush. We didn't have ketchup for hot dogs the other day. I'm like,
mhm,
how do we run out of ketchup in 2022? You know what I mean? Like, of
yeah,
course, my wife does the shopping and she's wonderful, and she does the grocery shopping. I do kind of like the home. Like, we always have batteries because of me. You know what I mean? We always have
right.
ketchup because of her. And it's just a really marriage made in heaven. And I just like, this is the sort of thing, they say, I wish that metric was here in front of us, but like 90 some odd percent of packages coming out of Amazon, they say are less than like 5 pounds.
Hmm.
So this basically covers like everything, and we don't need a large or small van coming up to the curb of our house to deliver a bottle of ketchup, right?
Right.
And so how cool would this be, being like planning dinner and you're making hot dogs and you're like, "Oh, we don't have ketchup." And
Yeah.
you just like, the connection is like, I won't say her name, but I have the Amazon smart home speakers in every room of our house, and you can order through those. And my God, you have your hands in the kitchen and you're like, "Oh, we're out of this." Like, Miss A, order some ketchup ASAP. You know what I mean? And imagine having like ketchup delivered. I mean, by dinner.
Sure.
What do you
Yeah,
think?
absolutely. I wonder, so from a pilot's perspective, does this bother you at all? Are you
Mm-mm.
something you got to get used to? No issue,
No,
huh?
no, no way, because the airspace is well charted. The flight altitude of these aircraft will, I'm guessing, operate in the space that we pilots don't fly planes anyways. You can
Mhm.
imagine these will operate 500 feet, or maybe 400 feet above the ground, structures, and people in transit. So legally, we're not supposed to fly under 500 feet in that criteria anyways.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Will they enter common airspace? Sure, but I don't know if do you know what ADSB is?
No.
So there's new traffic technology that's been mandated. It was developed, I think, somewhere around the 2010 era, or it was maybe developed sooner, but it was the FAA said, we are going to mandate all planes have this ADSB traffic sensing technology in planes. And the mandate was 2019 or 2020, and I think leading up to it, they had pushed it a couple times, and then they finally said, no, we're not pushing it anymore. If you want to operate in controlled airspace, you need to have this traffic technology. So these drones will have it also. In fact, the DJI drones and the personal drones that you have, I think, have it already.
Okay.
So, they will be able to detect traffic and make, I think, easy programmatically designed evasive, maneuvers. I mean, that's almost the easy part.
Mhm. Yeah, I was reading about Walmart too. I didn't realize they were as close, if not a little bit far ahead, a little bit farther ahead of Amazon on this too. So I don't know. Sometimes we think of Walmart as kind of being an old stuffy company, but that's not the case in this. They're ready to go too. They've got their service that's ready to reach 4 million households. This other article says so. So it's
Google's
here.
working
It's
on it.
now.
Yeah, Google's working on it. Amazon's working on it. There's a company that's been operating for a while in Africa that they deliver. If I just Google African blood drones, will it come up? What Zipline?
Hmm.
Zipline has, and for the listeners out there, I just pulled up a Wired article. So this company here, you see the picture? Look at that.
Hmm.
So this company, Zipline, has been operating in what's this article is April 2022, but Zipline has been delivering packages. And for the listeners out there, we're seeing a drone um, deploying out of the Bombay doors below it a package with a parachute. And Zipline has been delivering drugs, antibiotics, medical supplies, and blood to remote areas. And it's fascinating. They launch these drones with a slingshot, and then they catch the drones with a tail hook. So the drone comes down and does a low approach and catches it by a tail hook. So yeah, I mean, drone delivery is coming. I can't wait because I can't. I don't know, where was I here. There we go. Reducing the traffic is awesome. I mean, I'm an environmentalist, so to get more, I mean, we're transitioning to electrification of transportation anyways, but reducing traffic, getting delivery trucks off the road, getting the stuff that you want and need in short order, I mean, is just the future I want to live in.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. I'm curious to see too how this affects packaging. I mean, the Amazon packaging is sometimes is the meme that goes around, right? You get this enormous box, and at the bottom there's nothing in it, or a tiny book, or something like that. So,
They have a fiscal imperative to get that sort, to lean that
yeah,
up. You know what I mean? That's material cost for them. They don't want to send a box bigger than they have to.
no,
How about this? How about what this is going to do to real estate prices in the rural countryside? I feel like this is not talked about in this context. The self-driving technologies, both urban air mobility for humans is coming. I mean, we've talked about that. I think, right?
sure.
Um, you know, you live. I won't say where you live. I think everybody knows where you live. I live in West Hartford, Connecticut. It's high, suburban. It's a urban, dense area. We
Mhm.
live here because we want access to stuff and people and shopping. We can walk around the corner to the supermarket. Um, if we could be in town, as simple as like taking a flight, a quick 10-minute flight from rural Connecticut or lower New England or New York to Hartford, Southington, West Hartford, wherever we want to go, with these little vertiports all kind of stationed away, or you're getting your products that you need and you're sitting on 10 acres in the middle of somewhere. Like, that's compelling. To me, that's really compelling. Prices of property, go, much cheaper in rural America. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I find that really compelling. I mean, remote work, SpaceX's Starlink, technology, satellites, internet, that sort of thing. Like, all of these technologies I love, because I kind of have this fantasy where it's like, wow, when all of these kind of things come online, we can finally go get that, you know, inexpensive, beautiful house in the woods and still enjoy modern life. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
But it might not be that inexpensive anymore, right? If everybody's got the same idea.
Well, and that's the point, right?
Yeah.
So like, if you were a property speculator, you might imagine, wow, buying tracts of property within 100-mile range of New York City or any major urban center might not be a bad idea.
Mhm.
It's something I think about, probably too often.
Sure. And that, of course, leads into the climate discussion too. So I had posted in something in my Facebook group about how many, as you retire, do you plan on, leaving the state that you're in and going somewhere else? And then later on in the thread, I asked, does climate or the changing of the climate affect where you live? Obviously, most of our country's population is near the coast, but if the coasts aren't the coasts anymore, that's another factor that's going to push people farther inland and more rural. So that could be a factor as well.
Yep. I just saw a YouTube video last night on the population density of France, if you
Mhm.
if you can imagine this. But apparently, in the gut of France, there's this like cross section of France
Mhm.
where the population density is like alarmingly low, and the government is like concerned about it. And if you look, all of the concentration of their population is in the urban centers on the coasts of the country. And yeah, I mean, I'll just renew the comment and the excitement that, like, these technologies are going to empower people to live in these beautiful lands, cheaper lands. I mean, let's face it, kind of like the country, and maybe there's a bold statement, maybe this is an inaccurate statement, but maybe the countryside will will tip from being the cheaper way to live to the more expensive way to live.
Mhm.
Grabbing 10 acres out in the middle of nowhere because you can be anywhere, that where you don't have to live in, the city. That may flip. And then if you just add to that what virtual reality can do. I mean, when we were going through the pandemic, I bought one of those Oculus headsets, and I was fascinated. I said, I wonder if we could put a 360 camera in a classroom and have it stream to the headset so that the kids can put the headset on and be in the classroom looking around in 360 in the headset. The technology exists. If the government catches up to the potential benefits of that, see you later quarantines and sick days. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
The kids can still not miss a day of instruction, and still be in the classroom. And then if you, okay, pandemic aside, distance learning, they, I don't know if you remember, but I remember when I was in college, distance learning was just coming out.
Yeah.
So like our college was selling um, in, instruction to foreign students.
Mhm.
So now you imagine, like, wow, you can go to any collegiate or learning institution virtually, and again be out in the rural side of America while you're getting notifications that your new chapstick just arrived.
Right, right. And for the universities, that's in any sort of business, that's a way to scale, right? I mean, the idea of one to many, it doesn't cost. I mean, obviously papers to grade and projects and stuff, but from a lecture perspective, it doesn't cost any more to lecture to 5,000 people than to 50 people,
Right.
so the tech is there for them to do that. And on the education side, it may be something in between is first, the idea of augmented reality or something like that, where you're maybe still in the classroom, but whatever's in front of them is being displayed through an augmented reality. You think of, kind of show and tell or something as you're a kid, and somebody brings in something and you pass it around from table to table, and now maybe that's right in front of them, so they can all kind of get that experience of that. And in rural broadband is still an issue. I mean, I think of the Adirondacks, which is actually losing a little bit of population over the last couple decades, but some of the stuff we take for granted here and the high speeds that we have is just simply not available. But through through satellites or even some drones are delivering that internet access to some places.
Yeah, it's fascinating. The term that they call this is convergence,
Mhm.
technology convergence. When you look and see, wow, what connectivity like broadband satellite internet can do to the economy and to people's lives.
Yeah.
You light up and activate an entire swath of the population that exists in a reduced connected state in rural America. You look at what it can do to the cruise line industry. You look at what it can do to the aviation industry.
Mhm.
shipping industry. Imagine being one of those container boat crew members, and you can I don't know, and I won't speak for it, but how productive is a shipping container boat crew from kind of the point in which they leave to the point in which they have to kind of come into port? That could, you could see those guys could run a second career doing data analysis
Oh,
or
sure.
call center work or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing the productivity that can come from that.
Yeah. Yeah. And the whole gig economy and the idea of projects, we've talked on here and offline about, Upwork and Fiverr and, the relatively, from our perspective, cheap labor that you can get that's quality. The dollar might mean a lot more to them than it does to us. So
Totally.
the
I mean,
ability to open up those people because of broadband to be able to build an app or website or something for you.
or
Have to.
imagine you got some guy whose job is to pull ropes and hook up this vessel, the shipping container vessel, but then like the 2-week trip across the water, he's in college studying for a new degree or a degree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the metaverse, sitting
Right.
around a table, not sitting in whatever the environment looks like on a shipping container vessel. I don't know, but you know what I mean? It's just, and maybe gets his new chapstick delivered to the boat. You know what I mean? By
Yeah.
drone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's entirely possible. Yeah. Like with all those technologies too, though, you wonder if there's always going to be sort of a centralized better hub. It's like and whenever new technology comes out, we're like, oh, this is going to be so much better because we'll be able to stream video so much faster. But then the video goes to 4K, it goes to 8K, it goes to whatever, and there's always that. You always think it's going to solve that problem, but then so you wonder if still even the cities or some sort of central hubs will always have a little bit better connection than maybe those in rural areas, but maybe not.
There will always be a performance gradient for
Mhm.
technology. I mean, until the day comes where they sit back and they go, "Yep, we invented it all."
Yeah,
This
right.
is as good as it gets for everybody.
Mhm.
Everybody's highly connected. I mean, whatever. I'm not sure that's even possible. We'll see. But anyways, I don't know if it's obvious, but I get excited about this stuff. So thank you personally for adding a drone delivery article to our news chat. I don't think we have time for anything else. But that was lively and entertaining. You wanna take us out?
Yeah, sure. I can do that. I'm Brian Williams from Northshire Consulting, independent investment advisory firm in Connecticut. Our website is northshireconsulting.com. On our social media platforms, we use 401k and beyond. So that's the name of our Facebook group and YouTube channel. And you can check out some of the interviews that I've done there. The one that I did this morning that we were talking about, that is up there on the YouTube channel and in the Facebook group. And Eric will tell you what he does.
So I'm Eric Buhrendorf, owner and CEO of EVERNET Consulting. We are a nationwide IT consulting and support and services provider. COVID, as bad as it was a boon for our business. We're signing clients all over the country now. As long as you don't expect me to sit in your conference room and put a handshake on you. If you're in Seattle, Washington is one of our latest clients. And you're happy to interface with us telephonically and remotely using technologies like this, we can help you integrate your web apps. We can still manage your on-prem servers and things like that. We just hire we will hire a local contractor to be our boots on the ground, but we manage those resources for you. So yeah, that's what we do. You can find us at evernetcode.com. Schedule a free 60-minute discovery call with me right from the homepage. Scroll to the bottom and hit the button, schedule a discovery call. I love meeting new people and hearing about the challenges that we all face in business. And we have all the social channels. Now we're on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're all on the socials. So find us at Evernet Co. or Evernet and give us a follow. And if you have not already subscribed to this channel, you're watching Finance and Technology Insights. Give us a subscribe, a like, a comment, a share. get involved with us. Brian and I think this is a labor of love. We, like we said earlier this morning, it, keeps us sharp, keeps our chops sharp, I'm having a lot of fun with it still, Brian. Hopefully you are.
It does. It's nice to have it on the schedule. It's that 1 hour to just kind of, it's going to be there, right? I mean, so much although we do sometimes move it around a little bit, but you know what I mean? It's that one constant every week where if we do no other content, we know we're going to do, 45, 50 minutes on here, which is nice.
I love it. Yeah, we moved the scheduling around. We've found that late in the week wasn't great. Fridays aren't great and Mondays aren't great because of holidays and how the week goes. But Tuesdays we're recording, and I'm pretty happy with that. And we don't have yet a website, but that's coming soon, I think. But find us on Finance and Technologies, Finance and Technology Insights on Facebook, and our YouTube channel, which you're viewing now here. So we record every Tuesday morning. We usually get it published out by the at least end of business on Tuesday. Brian is our technical and video producer. Thank you for doing that. And that's a wrap, I think.
All right. Sounds good. Let's do it again next week.
Have a great week.